college, there's a lot of uninformed and consequently unsafe sex being had. We come to college, it's basically a land of complete autonomy, and we've been left by our parents, guardians, teachers to relatively figure it out on our own.
Going to a small parochial school, my exposure to talks about sex and alcohol, we're pretty much all in the vein of don't do those things.
Growing up when I was younger, I never really had anybody talk to me much about sex or the dangers of sex that can come along with that. And even coming to campus and starting off my undergraduate career, I never felt like I had too many people to talk to.
That leaves a lot of misinformation and sometimes complete voids of basic sex knowledge, but the sex is still being had. I remember my dad's attempt at the sex talk before dropping me off at college, which, by the way, is something that should have been talked about several years earlier. But I remember before he left, he said, okay, kiddo, be safe, use 2 condoms if you have to. And while in retrospect that's a completely erroneous thing to say, and it was meant as a joke, it stuck with me because I realized that he had always used humor as a way to get around having to give me honest information. And it left me feeling fairly cheated.
I was fortunate enough to get a job at the University Health Center, and part of my job was being able to conduct HIV tests for my peers. And I thought that this was really important because along with the HIV test itself, we were also putting together a reduction plan for these peers. And this gave them a really comfortable and relatable way to be able to come in and take these tests and reduce their risk of contracting HIV, and furthermore just having more knowledge on sex and all the things that come along with sex. And so a lot of the depictions that come with a college student is that every college student's out there having sex with multiple people and just getting really crazy drunk at parties. And we have quite a few statistics that show that, while people are out and engaging in, celebratory activities, they're not necessarily engaging in these dangerous sexual activities that involve multiple partners. A lot of these students are monogamous, and even with their partners, when they change partners, they are getting tested. They are very well aware of the things, and then you have people who aren't just as well aware. But that's, a big part of being a peer educator is extending that knowledge to all my peers and making sure that they come out and get tested themselves.
So I think it's somewhat ironic that I'm here right now as like a peer educator on campus, getting paid to talk about those very things that were kind of swept under the rug going through high school. It's always been my opinion that it is better to be informed on topics like sex and alcohol, because otherwise you have uninformed people going out and have to figure these things out themselves, which is pretty scary when you think about it. And that's speaking from personal experience. I would implore parents or even like adults in general to be open to talking to adolescents about these topics. Tips such as alternating drinks with non-alcoholic drinks or proper condom usage. Those might seem like common sense to most, but it's one of those situations where it can't hurt, might help.
I mean, I came to college without even having the sexual vocabulary to be able to describe my own reproductive anatomy. And when you think about it, that's terrifying. And so I think that we're doing young people quite a disservice and putting them in potentially dangerous situations when we don't give them the adequate tools to have safe sex.
So parents, don't be afraid to talk to your children about these things. This is something that they will encounter at some point in their lifetime. And it's better that when they do encounter these things, they have preconceived knowledge on what it takes, what it means, and what they should or should not be doing. And when they are doing these things, what they can do afterwards. And that makes all the difference for these kids, is just having that knowledge when the time comes.
An informed youth is much more likely, in my opinion, to make those responsible decisions, and make no mistake about it, knowledge is power.
So parents, don't be afraid to talk to your kids. We want to hear from you.
Shape of the City is dedicated to helping Lincoln stay informed of health and wellness topics and events. Visit our calendar at lincoln.ne.gov, keyword 10health. If you'd like to see your event covered, email us at 10healthlincoln@gmail.com.